Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside VirtX Live. Now, listen, guys, this is the place where storytelling meets real conversations. Okay, my name is Mary Jane, and with me is my co-host today. His name is.
My name is Nana, and together we're taking you deeper into the world of animation, storytelling, and everything we're building at Vertex.
Absolutely everything, Nana, everything. And listen, guys, this is not just a show. This is a community of passionate creators that are interested in storytelling, but not just storytelling. People who want to build their own products and see it from start to finish. We are here for you. And if you've been following our journey at Stay Dry, then you will know that, guys, we are only just getting started, right, Nana?
Absolutely, absolutely. And last week was incredible. Our very first show. Thank you to everyone who joined us live, everyone who asked questions and participated in our quiz. And we're happy to announce that the winner of last week's quiz was, drumroll please, none other than Ogunjide Saheed. Now we've reached out to him. He's gotten his Amazon gift card. So massive congratulations to you, Saheed. And yes, thank you for being a part of what we're doing here. Now, if you stick around long enough, you just might be a lucky winner on today's live. So drop in the chat where you're joining us from. Let us know if you've seen Stay Dry. And before we get into our conversation today, we have a favor to ask you. Please share this live with someone.
Yes, indeed. Please, this is a favor that we're asking you. Share this live with someone. As you know, we are just on our second episode, and this is something new coming out of Vertex, just right off the back of Stay Dry. Please share the live. If you haven't subscribed, do well to do so, or like, just engage. Leave us a comment, and please stay through till the end because I'm sure you'll have questions for our amazing guests. Now, we're about to bring up our guests. But guys, before we do so, I want to say that we asked, you requested, you voted. We promised you that your votes will be taken into account. And guys, we listened. Now this is the result of the poll that we took. 22% of you said you wanted to meet the fans, you have a meet the fans session. Another 22% said you want to have a meet the animators session. But a whooping 56% of you said you wanted to meet the voice actor. And tonight we are going to be joined by this wonderful voice actor whose on-screen presence and in voice acting brings depth, she brings truth, she brings the emotion, passion to every character that she embodies. Now, she's an actor, an acting coach, an author, a humanitarian, and she was one of the voices, or she is one of the voices behind Stay Dry. Do maybe. Now, before I bring her on, I would like no. I think we should just go right in and bring her on. Lydian John is here with us. Lydian John.
Oh my goodness. I'm
Hey,
trying
hey.
to leave my
I can hear your voice, but I'm yet to see your
Lydian.
face.
Hey, can you see me now?
Ooh. Why does it look like you? Exactly. Hi, Lydian John. Girl, look at
No.
you. You're all
Yes,
red. Love, love,
yes,
love it.
yes.
I
Hi.
almost wore my red shirt today, so I think I
Well,
missed out there.
you know what they say, almost cannot kill a bird.
Ooh, you can say that again. He didn't wear the red shirt. And really, he does have this red shirt. I think with one of the Stayed Right characters,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yeah. Maybe I could do a
Yeah.
quick change. Maybe. Let's see.
But listen, we're gonna kick you out and we're just gonna have a girls' time once you leave this place. All girls' time. Lydian, you look so beautiful as always. I expected nothing less. Really lovely having you.
No,
Thank you for agreeing.
but it's fine. It's fine. Thank you. Thank you. You too, MG. Yeah. And let's not make Nana feel
It's
bad.
so good to have you. So
Really.
good to have you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's good
very
to be
much.
here.
Thank you. It's so
Nana
lovely
looks
to have you.
handsome as
I am
always.
actually blessed, I'm blessed, blessed am I amongst women, right? And this is,
Yeah.
this is such a great place to be. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, not nice sandwich between two pretty ladies. Well, good thing. I think he can stand the pressure. He can
Yeah, he
stand
can.
the pressure.
He
Just
can.
about.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so we're already 8 minutes in, and we're about to get right in. So, Lydian, I welcome you once again. Looking beautiful as
Thank
always.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
joining us.
you.
We're going to be having
Thank
like very in-depth conversations, Lydian. Anyways, when we meet off camera, our conversations are already filled with light. And of course, I'm expecting
you.
nothing else, nothing less here. I think the first question I'll start with is, when did you realize that, acting was actually your path? And really, what are you hoping to achieve? What is your purpose to acting? Is there a purpose, or is this just a passion that you're just expressing in the world? So, when did you realize that acting was your path? And what do you hope to achieve with your acting?
Well, the question itself is multifaceted, so I will try to answer it as best as I can. So, acting is not something I just started doing, it's something that began from when I was a child. I know a lot of people say that, but I mean mine. I remember there's a picture of my mom pregnant with me, 9 months, and she was dancing, cultural dance, leading the dance and all of that kind of thing. This community kind of dance. So I guess I've been right in there performing even before I was shown to the rest of the world, right? So,
Yeah.
and of course, primary school, you are in drama groups and all of that. Secondary school, you're leading the dance team, you're teaching dance, and then at age 8, 9, 10, about that age, you're in professional theater troupe, and then grow there teaching dance, teaching drama, poetry, and all of that. And going into university, becoming director of socials of students of English all over Nigeria, you know, um, becoming the head of socials in SUG, the Student Union Government, and then doing drama, dance, theater before showing up on screen, finally showing, transcending into screen. So it's been cultural dances, theatrical performances, poetry, all of that, and now screen. So yeah, I've had a taste of all that, and I know that it is the purpose is light. You show up the faces of people lit up when you perform, even if it's dance or it's acting, and then you see people. It's also a vehicle to purge emotions. You see people make decisions when maybe they watch something emotional that you did, and they're crying and they're changing their minds on, their lifestyle, their way of life before that day. So theater, acting, the art is beyond just showing up and being pretty or you know reenacting something. It is transformational, and at least for me, that's what I believe be a tool for me,
Yeah.
lives and transform generation. So that's purpose for me. So of course I enjoy myself doing that. Joy to people's homes, even if I'm doing comedy or dancing or singing or all of that. I enjoy making people happy. Yes, the purpose of life is to also live well and be happy. Of course, serving God through the works of our hands and all of that. But there is no joy without God, right? So in the presence of God, there is joy. And so if my work brings joy to people, it means I am translating his light to other people. So yeah, that's purpose for me. That's
Hmm.
why I continue. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
I so
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, really amazing. So I just want to ask you one more question, just to follow what you just set up, to
Yeah.
back what you set up. So, you know, Yeah, you've been acting from your mom's womb, right? You've been a performer since you were in the womb, apparently. And I have no doubt. I mean, I
Mm.
have seen clips of your
Jerry,
mom dancing. Yeah,
oh
I've seen
yeah,
clips of.
you have.
Yes, I have. I've seen clips of your mom dancing and clips of yourself, Lydian. You guys are dancers, and you guys are performers in your family. But how instrumental was training in the act in acting? Because I have your book right here with me, by the way. Right,
Hey, awesome.
girl.
Let's
Yes,
bring it up
yes.
on screen.
Oh yeah, I have your book right here with me.
Hey,
Get that acting job, and
yes.
oh yeah, and you say you in fact you were spitting out a lot in this book. It's very very passionate. It actually shows your passion for acting, but you're also talking about training. So I'd say how instrumental is training to your acting? Is this yeah, you've been acting from since when you were a kid, but is this something that you are just innately talented with, or you had to still go train for it?
I mean, there's the innate talent, right? But it had to be groomed. It had to be shaped, nurtured, and like I said, from a young age, I was actively involved in school drama, church drama, and then from that young age, I also got involved into professional theater. So of course, you're showing up from school with your school uniform, changing into your mufti and performing, learning new dances, learning about new cultures because it's theater. So you're singing Yoruba songs, dancing Bata dances, you're learning Ekombi, African songs, dances, Hausa songs. Learning you perform if you don't learn it. So you're taught and you reenact this. So because I started pretty early, I guess it ingrained in me deeply that it's almost it's second nature because my first nature is God, right? So yeah. So I would say it's second nature in the sense that um it now becoming, if you read my book, you know that acting is not acting. Acting is
Mm.
becoming. So becoming has become easy for me because even it takes a lot of training, practice, learning, unlearning for you to perfectly become. For you to deliver authenticity, it takes all of that training. So yes, there is the place of training. It is in fact underemphasized, especially in our industry, in our climes. Other people, they go through rigorous training for them to churn out really beautiful stuff. But a lot of people just think, oh, acting is just exciting, just show up and do stuff. And until they show up there and they say, no, that's not it, then they understand, oh, it takes training to even cry on cue. It
Mm,
takes training, it takes
mm,
learning. Yeah. So I am very privileged to have encountered training really early. Yeah, I call that a privilege.
wow. Wow. So, I could just imagine that we were hanging out somewhere, and this is the sort of conversation we'll be having because this is just, so enriching. And when we meet exceptional people, we always like to drill in and go, what makes you tick? What is it about you that got you into what you do? And,
Yeah,
things like that. So this is so, so beautiful. And first, I would like to shout out to the people online. We have people in the chat as well. We've got Shola, Raji. Oh man, thank you for joining. It's so great to have you here. We've got Bulk
yeah.
Sale 81, our winner from last week actually.
He has to win
Thank you for
another
being
one.
here. So you have to win again, and you can maybe become a what is it when you score 3 goals in a game? My goodness, this is how I'm
We
about to
should
show
be
my
asking
football
you that, I
ignorance.
think.
A hat trick. You're about to get a hat trick of
Right.
wins. There
Okay.
we go. Right. So my question actually would be around, when you came to voice, to maybe and we'll bring up a picture of that shortly, where we went to the studio and did the recording. Of course, I couldn't be there live, but I was there on a mobile phone, just just looking, directing and everything. But I remember,
I love this picture.
This picture is so cool.
I love it. So good.
I remember you weren't feeling great, like you were just recovering, and we spoke before the recording started, and your voice was like, struggling and everything. And then we got into it, and my goodness, you just got healed. It was like this thing that you just embodying this character, getting into the character, you're asking me so many questions, and I'm like, I don't know. I even though I wrote the script, you're asking a question. What's her motivation here? What's she? And I'm like, I don't know. I think she is quite happy or something, But it was amazing to see that transformation, to see how you went from, recovering, from a bad illness, to getting into character and just giving it your all, and coming out with something that we didn't even need to do a second take. And since that point, I just had this impression of you as someone who's just got like massive energy and so much passion for what they do. Like, if you have to do something, you're going to go give it 100%. And my question is, where is that from? Have you always been that way? Have you always been this kind of person that's like highly energetic? Where is that from? Or how can you explain that? And maybe the other question would be, if it's something you developed, how can someone who maybe is struggling to keep their energy levels up? Yes, we can hear you. But what would you say to someone who's struggling to be highly energetic, someone who wants to be that kind of person? What would you say to them to be able to develop this, I guess, skill? I'll bring you back up.
Is that from my network or from your network? Okay. We're back. Can you hear me?
Lydian?
Yes. You're
Was
back.
it from my network? Was it from my network?
These days you can never tell.
I think so. But we could tell. Yes, but we could hear you now.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh, maybe it's from ours because you can't hear. Wait, you can hear?
I can hear you. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
Yeah, Lydian, you're back. You're back.
Is it better?
It's better.
Yes, it is better.
Let me see how this works.
We can hear you now, though. We can hear you trying to see how it works.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Sure.
Yes.
Ooh.
So, guys, this is one of the fun bits of coming live online.
You mean not so fun bits?
I don't
know. Not so fun. The last episode, my video kept freezing up, and
but that was towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's better.
Aha.
Hello.
We can hear you now. Oh, okay. I thought we had her for a second now.
Okay. Should she maybe go out and come back in?
How is it now? Should I turn it up?
Okay.
No, but we can hear you though.
Yeah, if you keep speaking, we'll be able to hear you. Okay, I think she's rejoining now.
Oh, is she?
So
okay.
Let's give it a few seconds. All right, and that was a really good question. I want to hear the answer to that, because I think a good
I
number
like it when you ask a question and you say that was a really good question.
Because I mean, I think that there's answers in there that's
yeah, actually, how can someone keep their energy levels up?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lydian is a fireball of energy. Yes. Lydian, it's better. We can hear you and see you as well.
Yeah. I was just complimenting my own question.
Yes,
Okay.
Lydian, we can see you, we can hear you, you're laughing. Yeah, I mean, if you remember the question, it was twofold. Like, I do remember that day at the studio, you were feeling down, but you came back, you came in, and well, I've worked with you before. I mean, we've been on set together, girl. So I know your energy level. So but it's a very good question to say, okay, how can someone, I think also it's not just because you're naturally energetic, but it would also be because you have a very good discipline and ethic for your the right ethics for your profession. So
Yeah.
but how can someone embody this?
So one thing that thank you very much for what you've said. You're right. So one thing that theater teaches you is whatever happens, the show must go on. So somehow you find a way to navigate. You don't give excuses. You just come and become the executioner. You execute. You slay. Right? Whatever it is that you have on your table, you slay. Now, I know that day I was. If you had heard my voice in the morning before we recorded later that evening, there was no voice. And I know that we had a plan to record in the morning, but somehow, miraculously, because I mean, I was praying. So when you ask where is it coming from, I say all of that energy, all of that grace is God. I was speaking to God. I said, God, I need to record today. How far? Where is this voice and all of that? Bring it back. And of course, he was, telling me to do every other thing I needed to do, the honey, take honey and warm water and, clove. I was chewing everything chewable, leaking everything leakable just to get my voice back on track. And of course, I try to nap, power nap and just rest my voice and all of that. And thankfully, MJ calls and says, sorry, Lydian, we have to, push the time to the evening. I'm like, oh my God, no, they fail. No. Because I knew that every single, second I had to rest was going to help me heal faster and show up,
Mm,
correct. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So I did show up. If you notice in that video, when I arrived, I had my bag and I had this water
Yeah, yeah,
holder. Yeah, that was warm
yeah,
water already as well.
yeah,
And I had my honey, I had my cloves still. So I would go
yeah,
to corner, I would pray, I would chew, I would put the honey, I would drink, I would gargle, lip thrills. We did lip thrills, right?
yes,
Everything in the book, everything I knew, just to ensure that when Nana calls action, there are no excuses. So I would say this, that I would never have done that if God was not there. Even I don't know how that came about. Yes, there is discipline. Yes, there's the knowledge of, use this when this happens and all of that. There's all of that. But look, the fact that everything came together at the
mm,
time I needed, and with the texture was just perfect for the character. It can
yes,
only God. It can
yeah,
only be God. So I would say to anyone that wants to, embody art, that's God is the creator. So can you hear me?
yes,
Yes,
please,
Our
yes,
network.
yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
yes,
So if you want to embody art, embody the artist, the mega artist, and that's God. He's a creator, so he is the first when it comes to creativity. So you lean into him, derive your creativity from him, your strength, for creation, from him, because he's the uncreated creator and we are the created creators. We were created to create. So you need to draw your strength from the master who made you a masterpiece, because that's the only way you're going to do work that outlives you and to the heart. So I did that. So lean into God, and of course practice, train, develop your passion. Don't just have a passion, have the skill to back up the passion. Right? If you say you love something, you need to show up every day to nurture it. You need to show up every day to learn more about it, to grow it, right? So yeah, go to God to grow your skills and your passion. Yeah. So he will connect you to the people you need to meet, the maybe group you need to communicate with, or the community you need to be aligned with. And then you begin to learn things. You begin to see the books you must read. Because sometimes when you begin to search for
mm,
something, then the information begins to search for you as well, because it
Mm-hmm.
sees that you are ready to receive. So yeah, that's what I would say. And just stay ready. Have that mindset of, if my name is on it, it's going to be nothing, below excellence. If my
Mm.
name, if Lydian's name is going to be on it, then it has to be associated with excellence. So that also pulls you towards doing all that you can within the books, and of course
Mm.
outside the box, to create great art.
Hmm.
That's
Oh, fantastic. Great answer. I mean, yeah. I
Thank
love
you
I
for
love
that.
how you say,
Yes.
yeah. I love how you say that when you begin to search for something, then sometimes the answer begins to search right back for you. I would say all the time that you can only receive answers at the level at which you're asking questions. Right.
mhm.
So yes, if you ask, then the answer comes. I wanted to let's talk about culture. Right. Can we talk about culture for a bit, and the role of acting in shaping culture? How do acting roles and filmmaking impact and shape culture?
Oh my goodness, it is one of the powerful tools that humanity has been blessed with to shape cultures, globally. Acting as a tool propagates culture. So how do we know about the Chinese when you've never been to China? You don't have a Chinese friend. But then you have a phone, you have subscription, right? You go check out Chinese movies, and then you hear what it sounds like when they speak. You see what it looks like when they dance. You see what different from you and the rest of the world. What about America? You've never been there. You don't have a friend from there. The only way you're able to connect with them is through the arts, through what they've been able to project on your screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same way
Mm-hmm.
for them to, they've never, crossed the seas to Africa. How can they get a feel of Africa if Africa, wouldn't put themselves on the map on screen, right? So yes, culture is that, you know um, culture works hand in hand with art, because they're both intertwined, and it's like a vehicle. Art becomes a vehicle to transport it, to express it, to reveal it. Because yes, it reveals a lot of ills in our society. It also reveals a lot of good in our society. For instance, a lot of people would never know that there was something called the killing of twins if there were no films depicted, right? If there
Absolutely.
was telling of it, that kind of thing. So, and what about cultures of women being subjugated, relegated to the background, being oppressed, being
Mm.
dehumanized? Things like when a husband dies and then the woman's head, her hair is being shaved off, and the
Mm-hmm.
corpse is being bathed, and she's forced to drink the water. If
Mm-hmm.
we don't have these things depicted on screen, people would not know that these things, exist, or
Yeah.
they exist. And some people still have, some silly cultures right now that art has been able to expose, right? Even the politics in our culture, even all of that, the ills in the politics and the leadership. When you do films, you tell stories that expose the rot in leadership, right there, people are aware. The ordinary market woman that doesn't understand what politics is, or doesn't even know the full picture of what her culture holds, she watches your film and her eyes are open. She's enlightened, because what you've done is educated through arts, right? So there's a lot of things. And now for some people, what they never knew was, maltreatment, maybe how they treated their maids, unfairly, or how people just treat nobodies in their minds, in quote. They treat nobodies like nobodies, and then somehow in the course of the film, the script flips, and nobody becomes a somebody. All right. Now, if any other person is in that shoe, first off, it gives hope to anybody that has ever been considered or has ever considered themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It gives hope that, okay, if this person in this film was able to rise, I too can
And
rise.
I.
Yeah. So it gives them that push. It propels them forward in their pursuit and, in life. Now, for the other
Yeah.
one that has maltreated the nobody in quote, and seen how these things just flip, and
Mm-hmm.
the sad ending of the oppressor in the film, they can have a moment of they can have emotion. They can have a moment where their decisions and their actions towards other people, they
Yeah.
can decide to be more kinder to people. They can decide to extend help to people. Now, for some people that, you know, they're just not aware. Their own case is ignorance of the suffering of people, in their
Mm-hmm.
environment, because they just show up in their houses, enter their cars, go to the airport, from flights straight up to work. They don't see what's happening around them. Now, when they watch a
Mm.
movie where poverty is being highlighted, they
Mm.
are in shock that, wait, there are people that have not eaten for days or don't even know where their next meal will come from. And because of that, they can be touched to show up and, start doing charitable works, reaching out to them because they know they have in abundance and they even waste these things that they have. But now they're able to reach
Right.
out because the art has opened their eyes. So art is it's very useful for what shapes a culture, because the culture really is shaped by the people. And if the people, their mindset have not been influenced positively, it means the culture will not be influenced positively. If
Mm.
what is, you know predominant in the people are negative traits, it means this same mindset, because your actions is based on your thought process. Now, if your mind is in the dark, the kind of policies you will put out to shape your culture will be dark policies. But now, when there is
Mm.
light in that mind, the policies will change, the culture will be shifted, it will be reshaped and shaped, right, to become a blessing to the people that the culture serves. Because the people are not made for the culture is made for the people, for the benefit of the people. Now, if the people are not well fed with the right information through arts, now, for instance, how then can they feed culture?
Fantastic.
So art
Fantastic. Yes,
in
it
its
is a
time.
powerful tool. I say that, filmmaking is one of the greatest tools that shapes culture. Greatest tools like film,
Mhm.
content is one of the biggest tools. I mean, the way we dress, the type of food we eat, the way we talk, the way we live, this is all because of the sort of information that we grew up with through films, through
Exactly.
movies and cartoons, I think, and animation. I think I think people underestimate the power of culture. But you were saying something very brilliant that I really want to piggyback on, when you were saying about how, if the mind is dark, this is what you produce. If you have this sort of enlightenment, this is what you produce. And when you produce that in the society, it just has that ripple effect and then it shapes culture. This would bring me
Mhm.
to the conversation on agendas. You and I sit sometimes to have this sort of conversation. Is there really an agenda in filmmaking? I mean, does every film that is produced by anybody at all, knowingly or unknowingly, is it serving an agenda?
Yes, every
Uh,
film every film serves an agenda.
yes, and
You know,
that's my sorry, just so that everyone is clear, what would agendas mean? In this context, and what sort of agendas would films be serving, whether they know it or not?
now, there is no art that exists without the artist, and every art is a reflection of the mind, the thought process, the mental state of the artist. So, when you understand this, you begin to ask questions. Why did the artist create this art?
Mm,
Now that becomes the agenda, the why, the purpose for
mm-hmm,
which this art exists.
mm,
There are people, like I have noted earlier that their minds are still darkened. So what do you think they will produce? Darkness. And for the people that are ignorant, what do you think they will produce? Ignorance. They will spread themselves because the art is an extension of the artist. So they would recreate themselves, spread themselves through the arts. Right. Now have been enlightened, and they are filled with light. What they
Yeah.
would produce, what they would create is an extension of themselves, which is light. Because you cannot give what you don't have. And no art can just magically show up. Somebody created it. Some system.
Yes, yes, we can
Yeah, we can
hear
hear you.
you.
Yes. Did you get the last thing I said?
Yes.
Yes, the system created the
Yeah, something created it. Some person, some system, some structure created this thing. So the question you should ask is, what was in the mind of the creator that made the art? What was in the mind? That becomes the agenda. And so if you're not careful, because of how powerful the tool, the art is, you will be influenced. Even if you think you're so strong and you are just going to have your own agenda, whatever any person is putting out there will not affect you. No, you are what you eat. If you feed your mind, your spirit with information, with art that you don't align with, but you are feeding yourself with it, soon you begin to shift towards it. Because two things will happen. It's either you change it or it changes you. You either influence art or art influences you. So your position becomes a matter of your decision. What will you feed yourself with? Your eye gates, your ear gates, your soul gate. What would you feed it with? What kind of art would you
Mm.
allow yourself to consume? Because now you are the one that has the power to choose what kind of art you want to consume. So now, if you have the mindset that every art has an agenda, the question you should ask yourself is this agenda serving your own purpose? And if it's not, and you stay long enough, you will actually get influenced.
Mm.
You will get corrupted because you stayed long enough in the wrong space. So
wow.
everyone
Mm.
consuming has to be really careful what kind of art they allow themselves to consume. So don't say, oh, they pushed it on you, they forced it on you. No, you have the power to sieve the kind of information, the kind of art you receive.
Mm. And
That's
so and that's very like it's very powerful because whether intentionally or unintentionally, there is the state of mind of the artist, and that translates, and that is the agenda. And it can be part of a system, or it can be part of culture. It could be part of just someone trying to a story or a message across. And there's always a message. And I want to ask you about that in terms of how it affects you directly as well, because you are in the space, you're in the arts, and how do you have you ever been at a point where you have turn down a role, or you have to decide not to play a character
Yeah,
or play a
especially
character
because
in a
it's
very
not
different way?
serving
You've
your
had
purpose.
confrontation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Do you how do you draw a line there, and or how do you navigate those sort of issues?
Yeah.
the beautiful thing is, in life, as you live, you have the opportunity to grow. And then when you grow, with it comes understanding. With it comes understanding, because of course you're growing, you're learning, and all of that. And you're learning more about yourself. You're learning more about the purpose for which the greatest artist created you as an art, not just an art, but a masterpiece in this world. And then because you've also aligned with your artist, right? In my own case, this is God, the creator of the universe. He created me. And so he has an agenda for why he made me. Now, as I began to align more with him, I began to realize that he has an agenda for me. And so I just cannot have an agenda for myself outside of the agenda of my artist, my creator. And because of that, I say this, I'm a woman under authority. The art cannot be separated from the artist. It doesn't have a life of its own without the artist, right? He is the potter, I am the clay. So he has shaped me to what he wants me to become. And by that, it means I can't just flow with any agenda. Just because, oh, I'm an actor, so you give me a script and then I should just come and, no. I have to go back to my artist and ask him, so this script has come. Is this something you want me to do? Is this something that will be pleasing for you? Is this something aligned with what you've assigned for my art to reflect? And if it's a no, then it's a no for me as well. So yes, I've gotten to that point in life. I have evolved, because we continue to grow. My act know and realize that I was not created to do everything for call art. I'm not permitted.
Wow.
I don't have permission. I don't have that license.
I love it.
So I have to I portray and the kind of, because art shapes culture, and I am very big on the betterment of the society, experience positive change. The art I'm portraying is making wise in the fulfillment of my purpose. So no art is too small to influence you. That thing you call is a family.
Yeah, I imagine that someone is out there and they are in this position where they have to decide they're trying to do something that doesn't align with what they feel is their own agenda or calling, and they have this role, and there's the bills, there are responsibilities, there are things that you have to handle in life. That person who's stuck in this crossroads where it seems like this will be the most logical thing to do, or to play this part on this job or whatever, but there's that internally between an alignment with what the project is about, what they really care about. How do you encourage that person, or advise them to make a decision? And we can't see you if it's on.
You can't see me.
I mean,
from your end.
no, but it's okay. We can hear you really clearly, just so that the bandwidth is okay. No. I thought that's why she went off.
Oh, okay. All right. Here we go. She's back. It's all good. It's all good.
Is this better? Can you see me now?
It's okay. We can carry on, because I think it's from the stream.
Okay.
Okay, but did you get the question?
Yeah. So what do you say to that? Yeah.
So I would say to that person, know who you are. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow. Yes.
I will say to that person, know who you are, know whose you are, and stay true to your identity. You don't want to lose the authenticity of your person for crumbs. There's a portion of the Bible that says, there's a portion of Bible that says there's an evil, that has been seen in the world where princes walk on barefoot and slaves are on horsebacks. So the exchange of destiny and glory. So what happens is when you do not know who you are, a prince, you will walk on barefoot and you will see your slave climbing the horseback, taking your position. All because you want to just hustle in quote and just hustle and just do anything. Let's just don't worry, nobody will know and all of that. It's just for the moment and all of that. And there's a scripture that says that a man in honor that does not understand is like a beast that perishes. So if you don't know who you are, you will be blown by any wind of
Absolutely.
that just anything that comes because you want to pick crumbs. I always tell people, remember your royalty. Know who you are. You were created by the King of Kings. So you're not just a king's child. You are the child of the king of every other king in the world. It means yourself as that, and if you bend down to pick crumbs, the crown on your head will fall. No king bends down and starts picking things on the floor with his crown on his head. There are people that will do that for him.
That is such a good analogy.
There is there's a courage you must have when you know your identity and you walk in it. If you are light, act like it. And when opportunities and offers come to you that is darkness, let them know that they came to the wrong address.
Okay,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
I'm gonna ask one more question and just I'll keep quiet for a bit. Now, and this is so powerful, like knowing who you are and yourself as a king. You don't bend down, and if you do, the crown can fall from your head. You have people to do that, and it's really powerful stuff. And I'm imagining someone is out there asking, well, this sounds really great. How do I know myself? What are to know myself? Because people know themselves. They know I am Kenyan or Nigerian. I like to study maths and I like to play video games. That's how we know ourselves. So what do you mean
not
by
who
know
we
yourself?
are.
What are the practical steps?
Exactly.
What does that mean? Like
Even where
someone is
they
out there,
come from,
this is all.
that's yeah.
So how
Go
do you
ahead,
get to
please.
know who you are in that sense? Yeah.
So how do you get to know who you are? Know your creator.
Okay, like how did you?
In my
Number
case,
one as well. Yeah.
know your creator. Know who your creator is. If you don't know who created you, you will not know why he created you, because you need to go back to ask your creator, why have you made me? What is the agenda? What is the purpose for which I was made? And I will give you a scripture, Jeremiah chapter 1. All through Jeremiah chapter 1 is a story that speaks of the creator and his created being, Jeremiah and God. And if you read from verse 4-5, you hear when he says, the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you and I ordained you a prophet to the nation. So you see, before I formed you in the womb, before your parents even met, before they knew they were even going to meet, I already have formed you. And so you're not here by mistake, even if you came by unpalatable means, in quote, to the human understanding. But the Lord God that allowed you show up here, to him, you are not a mistake. There is an assignment you are here for. So go to him using that scripture and ask him in prayer, show me who I am. That's a simple prayer. Show me who I am. Like you said to Jeremiah, like you explained to Jeremiah. Show me who, because even if you keep reading that scripture, you hear when Jeremiah says, but I cannot speak, Lord, I'm just a child. And then God responds to him and says, do not say I'm a child, but you will go to whoever I send you to and you will speak the words I put in your mouth. and this day I've set you over kings and nations, over, nations and kingdoms, and to uproot, to pull down, to build, to plant. So he began to give him the blueprint of his life. Like, this is why you're here. And this is what you're going to do while you're here on earth. So what better way than for you to go ask? I mean, I'm a Christian and I love God. I'm sure you've noticed from our conversations that I kind of circle it back to God, because everything that everyone loves about me, my art, it is because of God. So I will tell you my process, and it's up to you to decide if it's something you want to explore. And I will, advise you to explore it. It's the best way to live. Now, when you make that prayer, observe the things that he shows you. Observe your dreams, because you will see things in your dreams. He will speak to you. And I want to also make this clear. God is holy. So it means you need to be like your father, in the sense that you have to cut out some things that pollute and contaminate your consecration, so that you can have a free flow from, your father to yourself. You don't need anything to distract you. So ensure you try to live a good life. Try. It's hard because there's a lot of distraction, but just try. That way your receptors are not clogged. You can hear him when because you will hear a voice behind you saying this is where to go, and walk in it. And when you do, you would see now that you have divine direction. You now know who you should be, where you should be, with whom you should do the project with, because it's not everybody work with. It's not every place you should be in. It's not every art you should get involved in. Now, check also, because he will begin to make you pay more attention to the things that excite your spirit, to the things that make you feel alive. In that place, your purpose is also embedded. Then also check the things that make you infuriated, the things that makes you angry. Right there is a calling to fix it. Because instead of complaining, he has told you that you should look inwards to, seek a solution, not just be in the complainer's gang. There's a reason why you are the one getting infuriated about it and not the other person, because that's not their assignment. That's not their purpose. Creates you because inside of you is the power to change it, so that you will be happy and a lot of other people would also be blessed. So that anger is a message. Do not ignore that anger. Do not ignore that excitement as well, that joy that comes from when you fix something. Some people, they show up in a place and everywhere is disorganized. They cannot breathe well. They cannot survive in a disorganized atmosphere. You see them immediately cleaning up, organizing, arranging things. And once that is done, their soul comes alive. Right there. Who knows? Maybe you should go into, things that make you, turn things around. It could even be interior decoration. It could be that. You will want to beautify spaces. You want to, add a pop of color here and this there. And that's art. Blending colors together. It's not everyone that has that skill. But it was put to you to do that. What about those that like to cook? They love to cook. But they might not even like to eat as much. But they love when people eat their food and say, oh my God, this is the best food I've eaten. Right there is something. Because it's not everyone that cooks and gets that compliment. It's not everyone.
You have actually answered. There's a question that came up in the chat that
okay.
I think you've actually already answered.
No, but it's okay. We'll take questions later.
But
we'll take questions after.
No, I'm just saying it's been answered. It's actually been answered,
right?
Because the question is, how do we really know when our creator is talking to us or giving us direction? And those are the things. What are the things that really excite you, like Lydian has said? What are the things that have you've made that prayer? You're searching for that meaning. What are the things that excite you? Take note of that. What are the things that irritate you that you wish someone
change it? So be the one that changes it. Yeah, be the one that changes that situation. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good.
That's really.
And I want to say something. Yeah, I want to say something to this.
Okay.
You see, I have an NGO, right? My foundation, and it's called Lydian Adikibe Foundation. Now, how did that begin? And it began in 2019, right? I was angry. I was heartbroken about the situation of Nigeria. I was sad. I was complaining, oh my God, Nigeria is this. Look at people that are suffering. People that this, people are hungry. And then there is crime everywhere. Now children are forced into crime. I don't know if you heard about the 1 million boys saga sometime ago. You know that story of the
Yeah.
1 million, where a lot of children would come and
Yeah.
then attack
Yeah.
people in their homes. A
Yeah.
lot of kids with weapons, and then they rob them
Mm-hmm.
and all of that.
Mm.
So there was fear in the land. There was all of that, and my heart was just breaking. I would see children, taking drugs, abusing themselves, and not living in purpose. And I would cry. I would be angry. I would say, "What a leadership we have! What a country we have!" And then God was like, "Auntie, are you done? You are not going to be on the sidelines of people complaining about, oh, Nigeria is bad. Nigeria is no. Are you not a Nigerian? You're a
Mm.
Nigerian. So what will you do to feed the hungry, the next person
Mm.
beside you, that child
Mm.
you see on the street that you know needs your help? Have you been able to share that extra bread? Have you been able to, pay that tiny school fees? If you don't even have 1 billion naira yet, okay, the small school fees. Maybe you should, let go of your shawarma for today and take that money and put into a child's life, invest in a child's life. And if you do that in that child's education, who knows? The child will choose a better life and not a life of crime. And so it moved me from complaining into asking questions. What can I do to make Nigeria a better place? And maybe not the whole nation, but start from one
Wow.
person, because the people make up the nation. The nation is not just some entity that is just empty. It is the people that make up the nation. So when you touch a life, you've been able to spread love and change, positive change in that lifeline. And that person, maybe your child grows up, maybe a lady, for instance, grows up, gets married, makes better choices in life, gets a good education, has their own children. They pass that knowledge into their children pass that knowledge into their own children. And like that, a string of events, a chain of events of change has started, or has started, because you stood up
Hmm.
any children. So that
Okay.
was when I had that mind shift, and that was I'm that kind of person that would want to run away, from situation like that, because
Mm.
I'm overwhelmed. But then he made me understand that it was not by my strength or my capacity, but it was on leaning on his strength that I was going to be able to achieve these things. And so yes,
Yeah.
check that
And
breaks your heart, that
yeah.
makes you cry. Check
Mm-hmm.
it. Check it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I like where you started from, Lydian. So it's the good old saying that if you don't know who you are, the world will tell you who you should be, right? And
Mhm.
it's good where you started from, that the first place to discover who you are is actually by knowing your source. And we can see it even in the world today, how many years ago our ancestors from Africa were taking the transatlantic slave trade, and
Mhm.
they become who we call diasporans, you know and all of them now taking DNA tests, just trying to figure out who they are, because there is this huge spate of identity crisis driving people into several mental problems, illnesses, depression, just this thing about who really am I. And really, if you don't know who you are, then you cannot really understand what an agenda is. Because if you come from a certain family, what happens is that you've been every family has a culture, has a tone, has, in other words, an agenda. There is a tone here, there is a way we behave, there is how we do things. Lydian is off the stream, but I can just go on, right, buttressing what she said. And there's every family has a tone, like I said. And if you are a part of that family, then you would understand, the reason why we behave the way we behave. And it's the same thing in life. If you don't know where you're from, you can't understand the reason why you behave the way you behave. So it's very easy to just dance to any tune, join any sort of activity, do any role. And you know,
Mm,
it was a thing, especially before social media. Any role, just give me any role, you know, wakapas, any role, just want to
mm,
appear. But if you
mm.
know who you are, then you're able to well decide, you know, the sort of people, places, activities that you would be a part of. I really wanted to read an excerpt of her book to
Mm.
ask her, you know, another question. But she's been,
I she's not back yet, but once she
yeah,
is,
but her
okay,
network, yeah, her
I
network
think we
has
have
been
her. I think she's
okay.
back.
I think we have her back.
All right, let's
This
welcome
would,
back.
yeah, this
Hey,
would
there
just be
you
the
are.
last.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm back.
hi
I
Lydian,
because
welcome back.
can you see me? Can you see me now?
Now we can. Before we even
Yes.
couldn't, but now we can.
So before you couldn't see me.
No, before we couldn't, but we could
No.
hear you clearly.
After a
Wow.
bit, I see, but yeah, I
Yeah,
think
after
that
a while it went off.
Now Nana has gone off.
Yes, now Nana has gone off. Okay. Okay, well,
So
that's the
ladies and
thing.
gentlemen.
He's joined back immediately. That's the thing with
this
So
network.
what
is
time is
yeah,
it, sir?
Yes,
this
yes,
is
yes.
just
I could see you rather clearly.
Okay.
Right. I can see. I can. Well, we can see you clearly. We can see all three of us now. Okay. So, Lydian, let's just have one very, very brief question. Your book here. I'm reading. You know, from the. It says, "So you want to act?" That's the that's the topic of the book. That's on the first page of the. So you want to act, and it says, then this book is for you. Acting as a career is a journey, and so it must come with its own proven process that makes it easier for people to embark on it. Now, if you're interested in acting, then you should get ready to be auditioned. Okay, so now I am a youngster. I am interested in acting. I know the parameters way back before the advent of content, you know, this whole phone saga. It's not a saga, it's a really good one, but it was quite different then. How about now? Back then, we'll be packed full into halls. We all knew where all the auditions were holding. There were flyers. We would stand
Mhm.
from 5 a.m., write our names on the list, go and come back. Your friends write your name. You're just, you know, trying to get auditioned, right? But right now, I am just off. I'm in university or I've graduated, and acting is actually my calling. I think it is. And I really want to just go into this profession. What are the first steps to take? What do I do? Just very briefly, please. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now, but it just got a bit
yes.
noisy where you're at.
Can you hear me? It's frozen on my
Yes,
end.
yes,
Did
yes.
you say
We can
yes?
hear you. Yes, we can hear you, please.
But it feels like my can you see me though?
The
We can, but we can hear you
no, the video
loud
is
and clear, which is great. We can hear you.
okay. Okay, we've lost her. She's come back in. All right, you're
Yep.
back.
Your voice has gone low.
Right. Is it better
How is it
now?
now?
It might just.
We
Yes, we
can
can hear you
hear you
clearly.
loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. I'm so for that, one that wants to come into the acting industry because you have a passion. Um, I would tell you this: don't rely on your passion. Get a skill. Grow your passion. Grow your passion. Learn how to act. Take acting classes. Read books on acting, like my book, Get That Acting Job. That's the title of my book. The proper way to record monologues using your phone and social media to get acting jobs. So if you don't read it, how do you get that information? How are you able to get across to producers, to directors, to also the community of actors where you now pick things and learn things? So your phone is a bridge for you to connect to the acting world virtually, right? Another thing I would tell you is this: it's competitive. There are a lot of people wanting to take that spotlight. So, what do you do to make you stand out? What do you do to make you memorable, to make you unforgettable? You have to find that thing and then do it. Have the courage, the confidence to actually do it. Take yourself out of the pool of the crowd and stand out. So recently, this same month of March, Ruth Kadiri Films had an audition, and there were thousands of people that came around from even outside Lagos. And when I'm saying thousands, I mean thousands of people, not like thousands of people. Everybody seeking a spot. Everybody seeking a spot. But guess what? I was also one of the judges in that audition. I was also, one of the judges. I served as a judge, and all I saw were, amazing people, a large crowd of people that had passion, but little or no skill at all to match up with it. And that was heartbreaking. In fact, I felt like, halting the audition to start an acting masterclass right there. And some people got the privilege of having tips when you show up in my own audition room. It's not every casting director that has that time to teach you. But I still, took some time to just say, you know what, do this. Maybe this would help you improve. Do this. I started giving coaching tips right there. But how many people would do that? Right? So people traveled from different parts of Nigeria and even outside Nigeria to audition, but they traveled without their skill. They traveled with their passion, but they left their skill behind because they've not taken time to train. Acting involves muscles. If your muscles don't know what to do, then you will not do anything. So show up ready, because the world is waiting. Fortune favors the brave, and success is when opportunity meets preparedness. So you need to show up prepared for you to get that opportunity given to you. And knowing now that you are into a competitive race, there has to be something about you, about your acting, that makes you stand out. So I will tell you, pray to God and then sharpen your skills. So when God backs your art, you become unstoppable.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is amazing, Lydian. Thank you so much. Okay, if you have any questions for Lydian, please just drop it right off in the chat. Lydian, I just want to play a quick game with you.
Okay.
It's a very easy game. Yes, very, very easy. It's called This or That. Just 3 questions, this or that.
Okay.
Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. Okay. Yes, I can hear you right back. Okay, so quickly. This or that. Film or voice acting?
Film.
Of course I knew film. Okay, this or that. Script or improvisation?
Script.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, this or that. Stage or screen?
What happened?
Lydian, are you there?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, this or that.
Screen.
Screen. Of course it's screen, really. Okay. This or that. Nollywood or Hollywood?
Hollywood. Hollywood. Hollywood.
Hollywood. Okay, no, that's okay. Lydian, thank you. You've been amazing. Nana, over to you. Do we have any one who's still live with us? Nana, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Lydian. This has been so refreshing, and time flies when you're really having fun, because just like that, we've gone an hour and we're still going. We could still keep going. Like really, I still have some more questions for you. So maybe we'll get you back on, in no short time, and just try to get all the questions.
Bring the questions. Bring it on. Bring the
We want
questions.
to keep going. We want to keep going. But imagine that there are people waiting for, the presents and the gifts and all the good parts, and we have your book, as ready to, give away to someone who's here. And in fact, your book has like principles that I imagine would apply to any industry, because you're talking about showing up, and people showing up unprepared and showing up without the skills that they need, even in acting. And we see that across so many different sectors. Like, I was even there in that position, going applying for video games jobs and not just not being prepared. And there's people out there who didn't have the qualifications, but they would still get the job. And so this is applicable across all industries. And we have a copy of your book, ready to give out to a lucky winner. And so we are also going to give a some well, let's do the book first, right? And do you have any question for anyone who's watching right now? And if they answer correctly, they can get a copy of your book. Or should I go ahead?
I gave a scripture. On finding purpose, right? Remember? So if they can tell us the scripture, the chapter, So what scripture?
Okay.
What scripture?
Oh my gosh. That would be a lot. What if the person is a Muslim or maybe some
No,
other,
it's not about being a Muslim. They
watching us?
listened. They listened, right? Because this is listening.
Right.
The question is
Okay.
actually a listening test.
Okay.
Let's be sure you
Okay.
listened.
Okay.
It's not about
Okay.
a religious test. It's a listening test. It's a
Ooh.
comprehension
Okay.
test.
Oh, wow.
To
All right.
listen,
All
if you
right.
watch
All right.
this, sure, we don't want people to just watch and go. We want people to pay attention and glean.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Listen.
Okay.
So I feel like
so
finding identity and purpose is a very strong question. And so when I was answering that, you would want to pay attention to, how do you find out? So that scripture was like the first thing I said. So if you listened, it will be easy for you to get.
Okay.
Okay.
So drop it in the chat. You heard the question. Drop it in the chat. There's a chance to get a copy of the book, Get That Acting Job. And it is filled with, experience, and it's so rich. And I imagine that even if you're not aspiring to be an actor, you are going to get so much benefit from that, because it talks about discipline and, all the steps you need to take to get to the place that you want to get to. So let's see get your answers in the chat. Anyone, do you remember what scripture she talked about?
But you know what? Even if no one is, reach us
happening to the
after now, because we
Can
would
you
have
hear
to
me?
go. We'd have to wrap up the show. But even more, I also would like us to give, a copy of the book out to someone who was here all through last week and has been here all through today, leaving comments in the chat. And that's at bulk sales 81. And he's been commenting, it should have been Nollywood. Let's promote our own. How do we really know when our creator is talking to us or giving us direction? Bulk sales 81 has been just phenomenal. And I would really love to send a copy of the book to you. Thank you so much for sticking around, being a solid part of our community, encouraging us all the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you. Thank you so much. And Lydian, it's been such an amazing time hosting you on our show today. Thank you for coming. Your insights, your nuggets are just phenomenal. Sadly, we've had issues with the internet infrastructure today. I think on all sides. But what I think is that, we're just starting. This is our episode 2, and somehow we'll figure this out in no distant time. And then we'll have you back on the show for a proper conversation, maybe physically, because I mean, both of us are in the same location right now, but we'll see how this works. Yes, we'd have to. would have to have like a real show. Yeah, this is just here and there. Yeah, bulk sales. Yes, good. You're still here. Okay, thank you so much, Nana. From yeah,
Did
do you have
somebody answer?
any word?
Did somebody answer that question? Did someone
We
answer
No, no,
haven't
yet?
no,
had
no,
any
no. No
answers
answer.
yet.
No answer.
No answer yet.
No,
Okay,
No
no,
Nana,
no.
answers
maybe
yet.
maybe you should ask a question. Maybe it will be easier for them.
Okay, I can ask my question. I don't know if it'll
Yeah.
be easier. Okay, let me find an easy question. And this, if you've been following Stay Dry, this should be
Okay.
very easy for you. Okay,
Okay, fabulous.
so who was Dumebi's love interest in Stay Dry? What's the name of Dumebi's love interest in Stay
That's
Dry?
a good one.
And
That's a
on top
really
of the
good one.
book, there's gonna be an additional surprise gift. So let's have your answers in the chat.
Yeah.
Who was Jumebi's love interest? And we are gonna give it a while because I understand that, of course, the stream is sent out a few seconds after we say what we're saying. So give it a few seconds and just see if anyone picks that up. Let's see how many seconds, maybe 30 seconds. But actually, I wanted to say that, when we started this, in the midst of all the glitches and internet issues, this has been so engaging, and a lot of nuggets have been dropped that if someone is paying attention, they would really benefit a lot from there. We look at trying to help creators and people who are in this sort of creative space break away from anything that's keeping them stuck and actually find some traction and keep moving. And you have been in this position a few times where you have to decide, do I have to do this role or not? How am I gonna give my best? How do I break away from, being really sick and give my best? How do I develop the discipline? And anyone listening should have grabbed something from there. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of Stay Dry. Thank you for being a supporter and a friend as well. We really appreciate you. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on stage, right? Thank you for being an amazing, amazing team. Thank you for your creativity and your impact. Thank you so much for having these kinds of conversations because, yeah, change starts somewhere. So it can even start with conversations because what we do in conversations is we're feeding the mind, and it depends on what it is that the mind takes in that shapes a person's action or a people. So yeah, I wanted to say something. Someone said why it should have been Nollywood, not Hollywood. Well, I'm in Nollywood. I've already tasted that side. This life, variety is the spice of life. You don't want me to do Hollywood. You don't want me to act
I
alongside Davis.
I think,
Hmm?
Lydian, why are you even trying to be modest? Hello, in Hollywood, you're earning naira. I mean, Hollywood, you're in dollars, girl. Please,
Okay,
please,
well,
please.
yes, I
I
mean
mean,
that
look at
one,
this
yes, but
modesty
beyond
everywhere.
no, see, beyond the dollars, of
The
course, it's a
money.
very the truth is I didn't even think about that.
I
When I wasn't thinking.
know. I know. I'm
I
helping you
mean,
to think that way. We need
I
money.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. And yes, that's very vital. That of course. And beyond that, the access, the transformation, the high
The
level
access, the
of
growth.
yeah, the growth, the
Yes, the
development,
growth.
the holistic development. Now I have Nollywood, now I have Hollywood.
Don't
Come on
mind the
now.
person.
I
I think you're
would
taking it too far. It's like asking. No, we should ask the person right back that if you had like a
Why
local,
shouldn't I
if
do yeah,
if
why
you had
shouldn't I
like
do
a
the
local
Hollywood?
job offer, if you had a local job offer and you have an international job offer, which one would you go for?
Which one would you go for? Which
It's
one
the
would you
same
go
thing.
for?
Yeah.
you guys, please don't forget Bollywood. We grew up. At least I grew up watching lots of Bollywood films.
I mean, if they will allow
So
me
let's
learn how to
not
shake my
leave
head,
Bollywood out. There's a Bollywood
nah,
as well.
master. If there is Bollywood, see, like for me, right? It's because I've been a thespian for so long. I've won South African costumes, I've won Indian costumes, I've won Calabar costumes, I've won Hausa costumes, Benin, I've won several costumes. So I want to keep wearing them and keep telling stories. So even if it's in Bollywood, even if it's in South Africa, even if it's in Hollywood, why not? The question should not be why did she choose Hollywood? Is why shouldn't she choose Hollywood? What is the restriction? What is the
Hmm.
restriction? We are a
Amazing.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, black or white, we are one. And why not? If God made us, He made us for us to also experience each other, for us to, blend in and just do things together and create a masterpiece, which you on that other side will enjoy. So let
Hmm.
me tell you,
Fantastic.
go and
All
tell
right.
me
So
for that
we
door
All
to
we
right.
open.
actually no one has answered the question, which is quite disappointing. I mean, I thought you guys would at least know that it's should I answer the question? There's
No,
a
you
picture
don't
of
have to.
no,
You don't
you
have
don't
to
have to. Okay,
answer.
so
I mean,
but let's wrap up there. We're way over time, but this has been really, really incredible. Thank you for joining us and thank you for watching to all of you watching and thank you Bulk Seal for commenting. Thank you, Lydian. You
Thank you.
have been incredible, and we have loved having you with us from Stage
Thank
Right and even right now on the show. So refreshing, a burst of
always.
energy, so inspiring. Thank you. Um,
Yes. Thank you so much,
uh,
Lydian. And thank you to everyone who's watching. And of course, maybe you didn't catch it live, but we still have it all uploaded to our channel. Please do well to watch. Please share. Please like. Please subscribe. It's the beginning of a new thing. And like I said, we are building a community of creators who want to, build their own product, who want to start and finish whatever it is that they're building very well. We're having conversations on film production and even way more than that, delving into our personal lives and all the behind the scenes conversations that happen behind the things that we do. So thank you very much for being a part of us. We're looking forward to being here again next Sunday and hosting our next guest and having another impactful conversation that will transform you. Thank you from us to you at Inside Vertex Live. It's a beautiful weekend. Have it. Bye.
by all.
Bye, all.